Hello. So far we've looked at different chords, different chord types and their structures. I'm going to go through some different chord progressions, how chords can be put together to drive the harmonic progression of a song. So for this video I've put together a few well-known chord progressions and show how they work and how they sound. The first one we have is the progression made famous by Pachelbel's canon. Now in this version, it goes D, A, B minor, F sharp minor, G, D, G, and A. But the general structure is 1, 5, minor 6, minor 3, 4, 1, 4, 5, and then repeats. And this allows for the entire chord progression to remain entirely diatonic. In the case of canon, in the key of D. And this progression, or variations on this progression, have been used many times by many different artists. It's been used in songs like Ralph McTell's Streets of London, or Maroon 5's Memories. But variations on this progression have also been used quite frequently. One example would be the national anthem of the Soviet Union with music by Alexander Alexandrov, the same melody now being used for the national anthem of Russia. In that song, that last 4 chord becomes a major 2 instead. In the Pet Shop Boys' Go West, something similar is done, but instead of replacing that 4 with a major 2, they use a minor 2. There's something really satisfying in this sound. The first movement we have goes from the 1 to the 5, which is going down a fourth. Then from the 6 to the 3, we go down a fourth again. And from the 4 to the 1, down a fourth again, all repeating that same movement. Then a very strong resolution of 4, 5, back to the 1. This allows this loop to be very well self-contained, with internal consistency, a real audible logic, and a strong conclusion as you move between the repetitions. Next we have the 12-bar blues. In this example I use 7th chords for those 4s. This doesn't have to be done, but very frequently is included in the progression. 12-bar blues is one of the most fundamental staples of the blues genre, and has been used enormously. While many songs have been written on top of the 12-bar blues, it's also very significant in how frequently it is used as the backdrop for soloing. So this is an extremely important progression for blues players to know, as they may have to solo on top of it. Next is the Axis progression, whose name comes from the music and comedy group Axis of Awesome, who made a comedic song claiming that you could play most of the major songs by just using this one progression of 4 chords. And what songs could they play? Well, next is the Andalusian cadence, which describes a class of different cadences that give that Andalusian Spanish sound. It frequently arises in flamenco music, but has appeared in places like the Beach Boys' Good Vibrations, the Turtles' Happy Together, and Del Shannon's Runaway. If we think about this in natural minor, we have a solid descending pattern that's diatonic until we get to that dominant 5 chord. Now that introduces a harmonic minor sound into it. Andalusian cadences also make use of the Phrygian and Phrygian dominant sounds modulating between them and this gives it that Andalusian Spanish sound. And if you're trying to capture that sound, this can be a very useful progression to use. Next is the doo-wop chord progression, which is found a lot in mid-century doo-wop music. If you want to write something that has that 50s sound, this is a fantastic one to use. I mean, it's exactly what it is.
Oh, I am so alone, no, no. Now my baby's gone, no, and I go to the Sacco, through the Italian part of town, no, in my very long car, oh. And the coolest name anyone's come up with yet is the Big Bopper. Oh, I am so low and I'm sad in my very long car.
Here's a popular one that's only 3 chords and is used generally as a repeated vamp that gives a really strong showing of the harmonic minor sound. For the 1-1-6-5, this will be in harmonic minor. This has appeared in songs like Evanescence's Sweet Sacrifice, White Stripes' Seven Nation Army, and Backstreet Boys' Everybody. And it is a very simple progression that really has quite a lot of strong, dark, heavy character to it. So there's a lot that can be built off of this progression. This next one's only a 2-chord vamp and really shows off the character of Dorian. Especially with that dominant chord, some of its most notable uses have been the Doors' Riders on the Storm and Pink Floyd's Breathe. Sometimes that 4 chord will just be a 4 chord, no 7th, and sometimes people will use the 1 chord as a 7th chord as well. But the core of it is that it's in Dorian and is going from the 1 to the 4 chord and just vamping on that same movement. This next one is really simple, and it only uses 3 chords, but is able to tell an entire musical story using them. It starts on the tonic 1, goes to the subdominant 4, the dominant 5, back down to the subdominant 4, back down to the tonic 1. And in doing so, it builds up tension and then eases off, giving you this hill shape of tension as it rolls through the elements in the musical story. This has been used quite often, and one place that's well recognized from has been... Alright, that's all I've got for this one, so do like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more music theory. I'll also be showing more elements that have been used in songs of the past that could be useful if you're working on writing your own songs. And until the next one, have a tremendous day.